What's going on, guys? So in this video we're going to do something a little interesting. We're going to build a Slack bot, and we're going to do this using JavaScript and Node.js. If you don't know what Slack is, I'm sure most of you do, but if you don't, it's a collaborative workspace where you can share information and resources, basically kind of like a high-tech text chat. You can assign permissions to certain users and so on. It's kind of like Discord, if you've ever used Discord. And we're going to build a bot, which is like a robot user that can send messages to the chat. You can request things from it. We're going to build something called JokeBot, where we'll be able to say @JokeBot Chuck Norris and have it do a random Chuck Norris joke, or @JokeBot Yo Mama and have it give us a random Yo Mama joke. And we're going to use a couple different APIs to be able to do that. Now, I tried to look for an API that gave you just random jokes. Maybe you could add a category, but I couldn't find anything like that. If you guys know of any, let me know. So we're going to use this here. This is very popular. This is just the Chuck Norris joke generator. It's at icndb.com/API. And basically, we just send a request to this URL here, and we'll get a random Chuck Norris joke. And I actually used this in my modern JavaScript course on Udemy, if any of you guys took that. And then we have this yomama.info, where if we make a request to this URL, we'll just get a random Yo Mama joke. So we're going to implement these two APIs within our bot. Now, to interact with Slack, we're going to use a library called Slackbot API. This is the URL on GitHub, and it's actually called Slackbots, but the URL is Slackbot API. And the reason I chose this library is because it's very easy to use. It's very practical, and you can do a lot of stuff with it. The documentation isn't that great. It just shows you basically how to just get started, but it's really easy to use, as you'll see. Basically, we bring it in, we initialize our bot, and then we can do like bot.onStart, run a function, and we can assign an emoji to our message if we want to send a message, and then we can post a message to the channel, to a user, to a group, and so on. All right, so that's what we're going to use to create our bot. All right, now we're going to start from absolute scratch, meaning we're going to just create a workspace. If you've never used Slack before, that's no problem. You just go to slack.com, and we're going to say create workspace. You want to put your email address in here, and then click next. All right, now you're going to get a confirmation code. Let me just, you're going to get this sent to your email, so I'm just going to grab mine real quick. And just copy that code and paste it in. And then we'll put full name and display name. I don't want emails sent. Continue. Now we got to put a password in. And then tell us about your team. So you can choose, like, is this for work, school, shared interest group? The number of people, I'm just going to say 11 to 50. I'm going to delete this after anyway, so it doesn't matter. What's your group called? We'll just say Acme Web Dev and continue to the URL. Looks like acmewebdev.slack is actually taken, so we'll use acmewebdevworkspace.slack. That's fine. All right, so you can also send invitations to people, but we're going to skip that. You can download the Mac or Windows app. I'm going to just go to the browser one. And this will be our Slack workspace. So if you see this on the side here, this is just like an intro, like a welcome. I'm going to say skip completely. And now we're inside of our workspace. So I can just type stuff in here. I can say hello, and I can invite people to join and stuff like that. But this isn't a Slack tutorial. It's on building a bot. So basically we have two channels, general and random. And we're going to create our bot to work in the general channel. And down here you can see it says apps. This is where we want our bot to show up. Okay, so it will show up here. You can also install apps that are basically in like the marketplace, and you can build bots and other types of apps, and you can distribute them too as well. So you can have other people install them on their Slacks. All right, so what we need to do now is basically register our application before we do any type of coding. So you want to go to api.slack.com/apps, and you want to click on create an app. We're going to call this JokeBot, and you want to choose your workspace. I'm going to choose Acme Web Dev and create app. Now there's different types of features and types of apps you can create. We want to choose bots. Okay, so we'll click bots and then click add a bot user. We're going to choose JokeBot for the name. Now here you can set it to look like it's always online if you want, but I'm not going to do that because if it's not running and someone tries to use it, it's not going to work. So we're going to say add bot user and save changes. All right, once we do that, we can go to basic information and you can see add features and functionality is checked off. Now we want to add it to our workspace. So we'll say install app to workspace. It's basically going to just ask if we want to authorize this app or this bot user, JokeBot. So we'll say authorize. And that's all set. If we wanted to actually just distribute this thing, I should say, we could do that here, but I'm not going to get into that. Here's our credentials, and then we have some display information. So here, with the name is JokeBot, we can add a description. I'll just say random joke teller. And then we can add an icon here if we want. What I did is I just searched for smiley face PNG. And I grabbed this one right here. So I have that on my hard drive. So I'm going to use that as an icon, Mr. Smiley Face here. And I think it has to be between 512 by 512 and 2000 by 2000 pixels for the image. And this is a pretty big image, so it's going to take a couple seconds. All right, so there's our image, success, so everything is saved. Let me just close this thing down here. And we can save again just in case. You can also change the background color here, but whatever, everything is fine here. Now we can start to create our Node.js application. So let's go to VS Code, and I just have an empty directory called Slack.jokebot. And from here we want to create our package.json file, so I'm going to do npm init. And let's go through this description. We'll say Slackbot that tells random jokes. I spelled random wrong, that's fine. Index.js is fine. Let's see, author. Feel free to put your own name. MIT license is good. And there we go. I'll just fix the random misspelling. All right. Now we have two dependencies that we want. Obviously, we want Slackbots, which is the library I just showed you. We also we're going to install Axios because we're dealing with third-party APIs, and we want to be able to make requests. And I prefer to use Axios over anything when in Node. So let's do npm install Slackbots as well as Axios. All right, so those are now installed, and I'm going to just add a start script so we don't have to do node index.js. We're going to go to scripts and just do start, and let's delete all this stuff, and let's make it node index.js and save, and we should be all set here. All right, so now let's create our index.js file. And I'm just going to make this a little smaller and clear it up. So in this file, what we want to do first is bring in Slackbot. So we're going to say Slackbot camel case equals require Slackbots, like that. And then we want to bring in Axios. So that'll be require Axios. And then we want to initialize Slackbot. So what we'll do is create a variable called bot, set it to a new Slackbot. This takes in an object literal, and it takes two properties here. So we want the token, which will be a string, and then the name, which will also be a string, and this is going to be called JokeBot. Okay, that's what we called it. Now for the token, let's save this first of all, and then let's go back to Chrome. And this really caught me up when I was studying this. I thought that they meant the verification token right here, and it took me about an hour to figure out that that wasn't it. I kept getting this authorization error. What you want to do is go to OAuth and permissions. I can say leave. OAuth and permissions, and you want the bot user OAuth access token. So it should start with XOXB. So we're going to copy that, and that's what we're going to use as our token. Okay, or else you're going to get some weird messages. Then what we'll do is create our start handler. So basically what's going to happen when we start the bot, I just basically wanted to say like a welcome message. We'll say like get ready to laugh or something like that. So let's do bot.on. And we want to say on start. So when it starts up, we want a function to run. I'm going to use an arrow here. And we want to have an icon show. So if I just show you the documentation real quick, let's see right here, and you can see we've done this stuff. Now we're doing on start. To show an icon, we just want an object in a variable, and we want to use icon emoji. And Slack has a bunch of basically codes for different emojis, and if you want to check out all the codes, you just search for Slack emoji codes or something like that. Then we can post to the channel. That's what we're going to do, but you could also post to a single user, to a group, and so on. And the point of this tutorial is to really show you how this works, and you can come up with your own ideas. I mean, there's endless possibilities that you could do with, you know, building bots. So let's do const params. And we're going to say in here icon underscore emoji, and we want to set that to a string, which is going to have 2 colons, and inside will be basically the ID, which I'm going to use smiley, like that. Okay, and then we want to say bot dot post message to channel, which takes 3 things. It takes the channel, which we're going to use general, and then it takes the message, which I'm going to just say get ready to, we'll say get ready to laugh with at JokeBot. And then the third will be that params object that has the emoji. Okay, so that actually should actually run now. So let's save this. I'm using the prettier extension, so it just kind of formatted it a little bit. And I think we'll be able to run it now. But before I try running it, if I go to our Slack workspace, you'll see JokeBot is down here because we already authorized it for this workspace. It's not online. If it was, this little circle would be green. You can see it says away. So what we want to do is run the application. So let's do npm start because we put our start script, and now it's running. So you can see there's just basically a cursor here, and we can't type anything. So it is running. Now you could run it on your local machine, but you're probably not going to want to. You'll probably want to host it somewhere. As far as hosting, you know, you could upload it to Heroku or something like that. Basically anything that runs Node apps, but I think there's specific services for Slackbots if you want to look into that. I don't really know enough about deploying Slackbots to really, you know, go in depth on that. If someone else does, please, you know, let us, you know, any recommendations. But look right here. So now JokeBot has the green circle, so it is running. And down here it says get ready to laugh with JokeBot, and has a little smiley icon. Okay, so our bot is now working. I mean, all it does is it does an intro message, but it is in fact a working bot. Okay, so it's as easy as that to actually create. Now what we want to do is we want to be able to talk to it, basically, to send messages to it. But before we do that, I just want to add a quick error handler in case we get any errors. So it has an error event. We'll just say bot.on, and let's say on error. Then let's pass an arrow function with error, and we'll just console.log. oops, don't want that, error. Okay, now we'll put our message handler. So basically when a message is sent to it, we want to do bot dot on message, and the callback that this gives us is going to give us some data. So in here we're going to say data. Now this data object that we get has some properties on it, and type is one of them, and we want to make sure the data type is actually a message. So what we can do is we can just do a quick if statement here, and we can say if data dot type is not equal to message. Okay, so if it's something else, then we just want to return. We don't want to do anything else. Okay, if it is a message, then let's do a console.log of that data so you can see what comes in. Now we're gonna, every time we make a change, we do have to restart the server. So I'm gonna Control C here, or in my case Command C, the way I have my thing set up, and I'm gonna do npm start again. Okay, and we'll get the little notification. Now if you get this right here, enable desktop notifications, I would suggest using it. I'm going to, although you guys won't see it because it's off my screen. It's like way over here in the corner. If you're on Windows, it'll be on the bottom right hand corner, and it will just give you the messages from the bot, which is kind of cool. But now let's just do, from general, let's do at jokebot. You'll see it'll pop up right here, and we'll say hello. Now the first time we do it, it's going to say you mentioned Jokebot, but they're not in this channel. Would you like to invite them to join? So we're going to just click on this link here, and now we'll be able to use Jokebot in general. So I'll say Jokebot hello again. And if we look at our terminal in VS Code, you'll see that we actually got this stuff here. So this was the first one, I think, and then the second one was this object, and you can see it has a type of message, so it would have just returned if it wasn't the type of message. The channel, so these are like IDs, the user ID. Text is what we want to focus on. And in here is where you can see hello. That's actually what we typed. We did Jokebot hello. But it also has this stuff in it, which is like, I guess, the ID. So when we respond to whatever's typed, we need to make sure that we kind of filter this out. We only want to check to see if this was included when we do, like, for instance, Chuck Norris. All right, but this is basically the payload that is sent. So I just wanted to show you that. So let's go back up here. And let's actually pass the data to a function, a separate function called handle message. And we're going to not just pass data, but that data text value. All right, and then we'll create that function of handle message. So let's put a comment here. We'll just say, I don't know, respond to data, whatever, doesn't matter. And it's going to take in a message. Okay, this message is going to be the data text, which is going to look like this, something like this. So what we want to do is we want to check for Chuck Norris, because that's going to be a valid thing to actually do. Now we can't do like if message is equal to Chuck Norris or whatever, because it's going to look at this whole string. So there's a lot of different ways you could do this. You could use regular expressions. I'm going to do something very simple and just say if message dot includes and then space Chuck Norris. Okay, and I'll show you why we use this, why I'm using the space in a little bit. But we want to check basically to see if that is included in this text. If it is, we're going to run a separate function called Chuck Joke. Okay, so now let's go down here and let's say tell Chuck, let's do caps, let's Chuck Norris joke. So function Chuck Joke. Okay, so how are we going to get this joke? We're going to use our API, which is this right here. So we can make a GET request to this URL, this random URL. So I'm going to just grab that. And just to show you how this is formatted, if we make a GET request in the browser to it, it's going to look like this. Now, it's not going to give us an object right away with the data, with the joke we want. It gives us an object with a type and a value. And then in that value, we have the joke. Okay, so we got to kind of dig through a little bit to get this. This is what we want, the actual joke. So let's use Axios here to do a GET request. And we want to paste in that URL. And Axios, of course, gives us a promise. So we'll say .then. It's going to give us a response. We'll use an arrow function here. And then we're going to take response, and with Axios, it's going to be res.data to get whatever that object is. Now remember, that object had a value property, so we want that. And then that value object had a joke property, so we want that. So what I'll do here is just put this into a variable called joke. Make it simple. Oops. Okay, so now that we actually have that joke, what we want to do is send that to Slack, okay? Because they're requesting it. They're saying, you know, JokeBot Chuck Norris runs this, makes the request, gets the joke. Now let's send it back. So we can basically copy this because I want an icon, and then I want to post to the channel. So we'll grab this from the start and paste that in. I'm not going to use smiley though. I'm going to use laughter. Or I'm sorry, laughing, not laughter. I spelled that wrong, didn't I? Okay, so we have laughing. And for the message, we're going to post message to channel. We're going to use the general channel. For the message though, I'm going to use backticks instead of quotes, because I want to say what type of joke this is. We'll say Chuck Norris, :space, and then we'll use this template literal syntax to put the joke variable, which is this right here. And we also have the params going in. Okay, so that should actually work. Let's save it, and let's go back. Actually, first of all, let's restart the server. Don't forget that. And you see I got, well, you guys can't see it, but I got a little notification that says JokeBot get ready to laugh on my desktop, which is kind of cool. And we'll go back to our bot, and you'll see that it's going to do this every time we start and restart the server. But let's go ahead and try to do @JokeBot, and let's say Chuck Norris. And there we go. We get Chuck Norris. Once went skydiving, but promised never to do it again. One Grand Canyon is enough. Haha. Hilarious. These are really stupid jokes, but that's not really the point. The point is to see how this works. And you could, there's, like I said, there's endless possibilities to do. I mean, you could use a weather API, and you could say weatherbot and then put a city in and have it return the temperature or the wind or whatever you want. So, you know, think of things. After you do this, think of things that you could do to create other types of bots. So let's go back to VS Code, and let's work on the Yo Mama jokes. So we're going to go to our handle message. We're going to do an else if, and inside here let's do message dot includes. So includes just looks for something inside of a string or whatever inside this object, and we're going to say Yo Mama. That's the keyword that we're going to look for, and if that's there, then we're going to say Yo Mama joke. Okay, and I'll just kind of copy this, and we'll say tell a Yo Mama joke. Change the name of the function. The API, the URL for this is going to be api.yomama.info, I believe. Let me just check that, double check that. Let's see. Oh, it has two M's in it. There. Get rid of that slash. Okay, so the format of this, the response to this API, there's no value. It's just going to be res.data.joke. Okay, so we're going to put that in there. We're going to still use the laughing. The only difference with posting to the channel is that the title here will say, Yo Mama. All right, so let's try that. Let's restart the server. And let's go back. Oops, I want to go to Chrome. And let's close that up. Let's go to our Slack channel here, and let's do @jokebot, Yo Mama. So Yo Mama's so fat when she walked across the street, someone said, hey, and the woolly mammoths are back. Oh my God, these jokes are horrible. But it works. Now, I also want them to be able to do random, and it'll just pick from Chuck Norris or Yo Mama. And if you find another joke API, you could, of course, implement that. So let's do else if inside the handle messages. We could use a switch here as well, which might be a little cleaner. Let's do else if message dot includes, and let's do random, and then we'll do random joke. Okay, so we'll go down here and we'll say tell a random joke. We'll create a function called random joke. Oops. And there's a lot of ways you could do this as well. I'm going to make it really simple and just generate either a 1 or a 2. And if it's a 1, we'll run the Chuck joke. If it's a 2, we'll run the Yo Mama joke. So let's do const rand. And I'm sure there's more clever ways to do it, but I don't really care. I'm what I like to call a practical programmer. I don't care about like doing the nerdiest thing or whatever. I like to do the easiest, most practical thing. So we're going to round this down. We're going to pass in random, math random, and then let's times that by 2. We want it to be just up to 2. So times 2, and then this will be either 0 or 1. I want it to be either a 1 or a 2, so I'm going to add 1 to it. And then we're just going to do a simple if statement. If else, we'll say if rand is equal to 1, then let's run Chuck joke. Else if random is equal to 2, then let's run Yo Mama joke. Okay, so we'll save that, and let's go ahead and restart this. And let's go back, and let's try it. So we'll say @jokebot random. Okay, so that gave us a Chuck Norris. Let's try it again. So @jokebot random. Now it gave us a Yo Mama. So it's going to just, be completely random. Awesome. So let's see, what else do we want to do? I also want just a help. I want to be able to say jokebot help and have it tell us what commands we can do. So let's go back up to handle messages, and we'll do an else if, let's say else if messages dot includes, and let's do a space help. And in here, let's do run help. We'll have a function called run help. And let's say show help text. So function run help. And here, I guess we'll just copy. We don't need to make any like API requests or anything. Let's just grab the params for the icon and the message. And we're not going to do laughing. It's help, so I'm going to do a question emoji. And then it's going to be in general. And then the message itself, we'll use backticks, and we're going to say tell them what to do. So type at jokebot with either, and then in single quotes, I'm going to say, whoops, not whoops, but I'm going to say Chuck Norris. What else? Yo mama. Or random to get a joke. Okay, so the reason that I put a space in these is because when this is fired off, right, when this post message to channel is fired off, this is going to run. This, where is it? This here, bot on message. And the words Chuck Norris, yo mama, random, they're all in this string. So if I don't put the space, that's going to show even if we do just like at Chuck Norris, because it's that string is in there. However, this string doesn't have a space, you know, so hopefully that makes sense. If this was a more in-depth technical bot, you'd probably want to do more, you know, probably want to add some regular expressions and do more checking and so on. But I want to keep this really simple. So this, I mean, this will work. So let's save this. And let's restart the server here. So npm start, and let's go try it. So I'm just going to do at jokebot help, and that didn't work. Why didn't that work? Oh, wait a minute. Wait. Else if messages includes help, run help, function run help, post a message. Wait, I got an error here. What's this? Messages is not defined. Messages. Where is this? 42. Messages is not defined. Else if, oh, I said messages. Should be message. See, read your errors. So let's restart this, and now it should work. So let's do at jokebot help, and there we go. So we get this question mark emoji, and it says type jokebot with either Chuck Norris, yo mama, or random to get a joke. Okay, so that's it. We have created a nice little joke bot that is absolutely not funny at all, but it does work. And you know, the point of this tutorial is to show you guys how to implement this, and you can come up with your own ideas. But like I said, as for hosting, you probably don't want to just keep this running on your local machine, even though, I mean, it does work. It just goes by the token. But you probably want to host this somewhere else, you know, on some other server. And if anyone has a lot of experience with this stuff, and you know a good place to host a Slackbot, you know, let us know, or any other information on that matter, for that matter. But that's going to be it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this. I will put this code on GitHub. I am going to delete this workspace, this Acme Web Dev, so you'll need to get your own, you know, create your own token, API key, whatever you want to call it. And yeah, so that's it. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, please leave it a like. If you're not subscribed, you like this content, please consider subscribing, consider supporting me on Patreon. And that's it. Thanks.